combined meeting for the school district of Oconee County Board of Trustees, and it's August 12th, and we're beginning at 6:30. Prior to this, we just had a real exciting night. We graduated 4 more students to the 2024 year, and it's always wonderful when the school district adds new graduates to its list. So we celebrated that in the auditorium with their families, and it's been a good night so far. At this time, I ask you if you would like to join me in a moment of silence as we begin. And now, if you would, stand with me as we salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, and again, it's the August 12th work session and regular meeting agenda. Did anyone have anything they wanted to add? Change? All right, then the agenda will be approved with no objection. And at this time, we have a special recognition from the South Carolina School Board Association's Boardmanship Institute. I think we have 2 of us tonight.
And just to share a little bit about this recognition, it's in state law that any person elected as a school board member goes through training. It's in South Carolina, that training is offered by and large by the South Carolina School Boards Association, but because just about any adult is eligible to run for school board. Of course, we're in the midst of getting ready to have some elections here in the fall for some school board seats. But because just about any adult can run for school board, often it's someone who may not be as familiar with the inner workings of school law and how school districts function. So the School Boards Association takes on different training opportunities for board members, and there are 6 different levels of training in the state of South Carolina, and we have 2 board members who through different training opportunities have advanced to different levels. So I'll ask Ms. Holder if she'll come up first, and we'll stand and we'll present this. We'll let this guy take a picture here. But Ms. Holder has reached level 2 in 2 short years on the board, so we're happy for her, and I want to honor her as level 2 school board member. And Dr. Ketterman has advanced to level 3 in her 4 years on the school board, so we're proud of her and the way she's representing our county on the school board for District 2.
Congratulations to each of them. We have school highlights tonight, and on the top of my list is Walhalla Middle School. So Scott Dixon is our principal with us tonight.
We're going to trade places.
Congratulations. All right, Jennifer Crawford from Walhalla High School is going to present hers at first.
Thank you so
Good
much.
to have you.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Crawford. I'm the principal here at Walhalla High School. Thank y'all for being here this evening. I am so very lucky to be able to come to work here in this building every single day, and so very lucky to be able to serve the school district and specifically the students that I get to serve every single day. I'm going to move over there.
Sure.
You want me to take it with
No.
me? Okay.
Where are you going?
I'm going to go over there just so I can be at
You're fine.
So I'm going to move over here so I can play down mine. So I do just want to give you a little bit of a highlight about what's been going on over the summer, or actually over last semester, over the summer, and then what we have started with this year. So part of what I think is very important about my job is being sure that I am constantly looking at, are we helping our students to be successful, and what so we started looking at how can we help specifically our freshmen be more successful out of the gate, because when freshmen are successful out of the gate, we have a much better chance of helping them to be successful as they go on and cross that finish line at graduation on time, which is our on-time graduation rate. So as we were looking to do that, what we started really focusing on is why aren't they being successful? And one of the things we found is that students aren't failing classes and aren't graduating because they're not capable in most circumstances. It's because we're not holding them accountable for doing the work. So the consequence, or the mantra at Walhalla High School last year turned into the consequence for not doing your work is do your work. We're not just gonna give you zeros and hope you that taught you a lesson and let you go on through, but we're gonna hold you accountable for doing that work. And if you can't do the work, if it's truly that we can't do it, then how can we best support you? But one of the things that we constantly ran into was trying to do that within the confines of the day. We can offer things before school and after school, but really we need to be able to maximize the time that we have with students during the day. So while all this is going on, I was lucky enough to go and take part in the PLC conference that you guys sent us to, which was amazing. Thank you so much for your support with that. But throughout that conference, you can see in the room, it's placed around, there's 4 questions. What do we want students to learn? How do we know when they learn it? What do we do when they do? And what do we do when they don't? And it was like it all just started to click and come together. So, so that is in Kansas City when we were there for that trip was when I was really introduced to the idea of flex. And flex is truly what it sounds like, which is just a flexible time throughout the day where students are getting what they need when they need it. So it's all about us using data to be able to look at what students need, us being responsive to that, and really getting to them quickly, not waiting until the end of the semester and then trying to figure out what did they not know or what did we not do, but really right as they need it, supporting them as much as they possibly can. So we wanted to create through Flex those opportunities to support students, but then we also have that 4th question of, okay, well, what do we do when they do learn it? Because we also have a large number of students who are doing great in school, but we also want to be able to offer them enrichment and opportunities that they may not have been able to experience, but what can we do for those students throughout the day as well? So that's where the idea of Flex came in. So once I felt really strongly and passionately about this, I started talking to the other high school principals, started talking to Carson Leecroy at the Career Center, because I felt like it was important for all of us to really be on the same page. We came together to district leadership, who were also very supportive in what we wanted to do. And so we came up with the idea of we're going to have Flex 4 times a week in our high schools. So we have 40 minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, that we are able to offer students enrichment, opportunities, remediation. And so some of those things that we have going on are things like academic support and test review. And I'm going to kind of show you what it looked like today, because today was officially day 1 of Flex, and it was so awesome and exciting. I'm going to kind of show you exactly what we had today and what's on board for tomorrow. But like I said, it is really, truly individualized. What do our students need and how can we best support them while they're here? So everything from class meetings to athletic team meetings, but also our guidance is doing sessions on how to deal with stress and being a high schooler. Our college and career counselor is doing helping with college applications, questions about FAFSA, doing job applications and resumes. And then we have things outside the box like tractor restoration, real life skills that we can't necessarily always offer as a credit-bearing class, but are things that kids should get the opportunity to learn, and now we have a time within the day to be able to do that. So like I said, we came together as with all 3 high schools and with the Career Center to come up with a schedule that was going to work for all involved. Now, we still have a little bit of tweaking to do with this. We're still working on a little bit of transportation, being sure that our kids have enough time to get there and back, but what we're finding is things kind of tend to work out after the first week of school, kind of like the long car rider runs that I know you guys hear about, like they tend to even out. So we're kind of still looking at some of those and willing to tweak a few minutes here and there if we need to, but I think the importance and what this is bringing to our students is The other part of this, though, was I mentioned about what do we want students to know and how do we know when they know it? And something that all three principals felt strongly about was this teacher collaboration piece has to be a part of it. Because if we want teachers to offer all of these things and plan for what they need to offer and really truly look at the data, it's hard to offer a true common planning in a high school. So how can we accomplish this? And so again, we came to district leadership who is extremely supportive. And right now we have on Wednesday, I call it a working Wednesday, but instead of 8:45, our first block starts at 9 o'clock. We haven't changed anything. We still open the doors at the same time. The buses still run on the same schedule. Once we get a few weeks into this, we're actually going to be able to start offering things for students in that time. This was the first one, so we kind of had to just be sure everybody was good. But we're going to do some offerings for students who are here, but that allows our teachers almost a solid hour once a week for common formative assessments, common planning, instructional planning, looking at the data, and the data drives what we're offering in Flex every week. So, like I said, it's been very exciting in the planning. I've been very fortunate. I'm going to introduce Kathy Ward. Kathy is our new assistant principal, and Ms. Ward was actually at Daniel High School previously, where they started implementing some flex time and actually used the same software that we just got. So she has taken loads of stress off me. I've just been cruising on because I know we're in really good hands. But Ms. Ward provided a lot of training to both our teachers and our students over the first week of school, because they get to basically see a big menu of what are we offering, and then they get to either choose or they're assigned things. So this is tomorrow. So we have everything from a Miss Wahira, our pageant interest meeting. That's something that we shouldn't be taking instructional time to do that, and now we don't have to because we have a time built in for things like that. The second one is a Taylor Swift Friendship Bracelet Workshop, but they're actually taking Taylor Swift lyrics and they're analyzing that through English standards. So it's still accomplishing things that we want to, but we're kind of tricking the kids into figuring out they're still learning those English standards. And then we have required remediation. We have optional sessions where they can get remediated, and it's amazing how quickly these are filling up. And even those optional test review for what's coming up, the numbers of kids that are taking it upon themselves to go say, I need help with this already, has been so exciting to me. So we have the option of the kids that may not realize they need the help, but we know they need the help. But then we also have the kids that are actively seeking and saying, I'm going to go get some support with this. So it has so far, also on there, we're offering some cybersecurity sessions. We're doing robotics. We have real estate 101, investments and investing in stocks. Like it's super exciting, but these are all things that we haven't been able to do with our traditional schedule, and we're able to accomplish that so far. So I invite any of y'all to please, we start at 11:35, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Come and just walk around. You'll see kids outside, you'll see kids inside, you'll see a lot of great things going on. So any questions for me? Awesome. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dixon.
Thank you. I apologize, first of all, I'm a little bit under the weather this weekend and struggling a little bit, but we're getting there. But basically, Board, I just want to say thank you for your support. I've been in this district a long time and I've heard some rumors in other districts and stuff, and nobody in this district ever complains about the board. Other districts, you hear it all the time. You don't hear it here. It's a lot of support, and it's greatly appreciated to work in a place where you just feel comfortable. And if I had a question, I could call in you, and I feel confident that you're going to be supportive of what we do. So we appreciate that for sure. Jennifer did a great job. Ditto. But she kind of laid the foundation. But in middle school, it's a little bit different. But I just want to talk about some of the same things that she did. But let's go through highlights. We're in day 8, not a lot of highlights. But our enrollment is grown. We're at 886 kids right now. We have some no-shows that will be dropped here in the next day or two, but we don't anticipate many. But that's a lot of kids in our school. Back to school night, we've never done an school night at the same time, at least not as long as I've been principal. We always had different times and stuff. And it really worked well from the teacher's perspective. They loved it. We got a lot of work to do on the front end to make it easier when people are coming in. And we've learned that lesson real quickly, and we'll have that ironed out for it next year. But it was really good. Our teachers were like, wow, and we had probably 75% of our kids possibly show up. It was incredible. So it was good. Traffic and dismissal, I just want to brag on this. The first day of school, all of our cars and buses, well, buses were right there on the last thing because I think we're still a little short. But all the car riders were in with 5 minutes to spare, day one. Incredible. Now, dismissal that day was rough because the storm came and we had to pull kids inside for lightning and try to do one at a time for a few minutes. And I decided to do that because I saw Mr. Burgess on duty with Jim Cantori. So I said, it's time to go in. So we had to stagger. The first day was a little rough because we just had to be safe. We had HVAC upgrades, everything's working. Our Parent Square, we have 99% of our parents are reachable on Parent Square. Some of them still have to activate it. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know they can. And we've had some issues. We've had a couple of our teachers who had parents that passed away all at the same time in the first week of school. And we had a couple of sicknesses. And we've had a 100% fill rate on our subs. 100%. It's been wonderful. I shouldn't say that out loud, but it was good. So those are our highlights. Now, something that's new this year, we've received an instructional coach this year in the middle school level. And we have Emily Gravely. She was at Walhalla High School. She's our instructional coach this year. And the first week or so, she's just kind of been going around visiting with teachers, learning names, building relationships and things like that. We call her an instructional coach, but I think she needs to be a CIA coach because she's dealing with curriculum and assessment as well. So, and I think she's going to end up doing a lot of assessment stuff on the front end. You know, we've done some PD with the teachers about getting the essential standards and stuff that she wasn't really a part of in the front end of that. She's getting involved with it, but definitely with the other side and the assessments and the formative assessments and the Mastery Connect, and she's going to really work with teachers on getting those things together, making sure we have the proper rigor of stuff like that. So she's excited with that. And then she's going to be involved in as many PLC meetings as she can because with our schedule, we have balanced core class times, which is a little change because math and science for the last 22 years have been 90-minute periods. Math and language arts have been 90-minute periods, and science and social studies have been 45-minute periods. We've balanced that out, which took some staffing changes for certifications. So we balanced that out, and every core class is 55 minutes now. And it's interesting because math and language arts are adapting to it. They're changing from their 90 minutes to their 55 is a little bit of a change for them. But talking to the science and social studies teachers, and I was talking to one of the teachers today, and he said, I said, you like the 4 periods a day at 55 minutes instead of 6 periods at 45? He said, yes. He said, by the time I teach that the 5th time, I feel like I'm burnt out from teaching at that time. I said, imagine what a kid feels like knowing 90 minutes. So we basically answer our own question that just after 55 minutes, it's time to stand up and do something to change because if you lose focus, you're wasting time. If I stood up here and talked for 90 minutes right now, most of you would leave. Probably after 10 minutes. But, so that's really been a neat change, the balance time. Now, our related arts times are still 45 minutes. So how do you do that? There's staggered class changes. So after the first period, I think you have a copy of the bell schedules. After our first block of the day, which is all core, from that point on, people change classes at a different time. And there's hardly ever anybody in the hallways anymore. So we change classes. 2 grades are still in a class. 1 grade's changing class. They got plenty of time to go to the restroom, get to their class. The hallways are just so easily moved through. There's no congestion or anything. It's really been neat. And you have 6th graders who aren't going to be running into 8th graders. And that's always a little bit of a concern with the parents of 6th graders when they come. I don't want them being around these 8th graders. They're not. After that first class change, they probably don't see each other the whole day. So it works out interesting with that, but it works out well. We do have a flex period. We call it Razor. Ours is grade level specific. specific. And our focus is remediation, enrichment, recovery, and activity, but it's really just the core teachers in that grade level doing it. So we don't have the related arts teachers able to offer these things, not this year. Right now, they're staying with the same teacher until we get the software up and running in our school. We're in the process of getting that done. Shouldn't be long, we train the teachers here in the next few days. And we can start working on those things. But our thought was, we've got to, and we do a pretty good job with our scores year in, year out. Some days, some years are up, some are down a little bit, but we hold our own. But we've got to get our not mets to approaching. We've got to get our approaching to met. We've got to get our met to exemplary. We've got to move every up step a little bit at a time to meet that 5-year goal that we have to increase everything. So we feel like the remediation part is a big factor. So what kids, teachers will be able to pick kids, and we're still working through this with our PLCs about what that's going to look like. Are we going to have some specific math days where you go get your math extra help? And the ones who have what we call the leftovers, who don't need the extra help, we're having different activities for them to do that are educational in structure. They're going to have different assignments, enrichment type programs. Kids who miss 2 or 3 days, we're going to allow them to have this time to do some recovery. If you've got to get caught up and you need some time and you need a teacher with you, you're going to go to that teacher and get the recovery and help get it made up. And then a few times we've got some activities. If we have a baby club meeting we need to have, we can pull those kids and have that meeting. We had grade level class meetings Thursday and Friday. So we called all the kids to the auditorium. We did a 30-minute class meeting. We went over some of the regulations and rules and expectations, and just kind of, reminded kids of everything that the school we do, attendance policies and things like that. And we got to do that with each grade level. And we got to talk to 8th grade about, you're starting your journey to high school. And so it was really good to be able to pull all those kids together and have an opportunity for them to, have a class time, and we weren't pulling them from instructional time. So we like that part of it as well. And then I think you can see, and then like I say, Emily with our instructional coach, she's going to be a big part of helping with the assignments on the razor and making sure that we have, opportunities. And if everybody's doesn't have a place to go, we're going to make sure we have good things where people can go to that's going to be beneficial for them, and not just a 30-minute time to do nothing. It's going to be a solid, everybody's got something to do every day. And so we kind of like that. And we'll see how it goes. And if it goes well and we look at it next year and say, you know what, if we can get more people involved with flex time, or we can do it all at the same time every day and get some related arts teachers involved, we might can broaden our horizons a little bit on things we can offer. But for right now, ours is focusing on, let's get those not mets to approaching the met. Let's move everybody up a level if we can. So that's kind of where our focus is on our flex time. And then that's kind of a copy of our bell schedule right now. And then we really need about 15 minutes more every day, but gotta feed them. So, any questions?
Thank you so,
Thank you so much.
I want to thank both of you for, coming right at the beginning of school. And I think the thing that is so impressive is you saw needs within the education of these children that you have met and have done it so well. And, it's pretty fun to go to school. So we do appreciate both of you coming and presenting tonight. It's hard, first week of school.
No, and the principals, Jennifer alluded to it, but I do want you to know all of our middle schools and high schools are doing this. The principals have collaborated, they're working together on this, and all of our secondary schools have a program in place.
Our bell schedules are a little different among each middle school, but it's basically the similar type stuff.
Well, that is exciting. Thank you both so much for being here tonight. Thank you. All right, it's time for public comment, and I think we have
Matthew Durham. Good evening. So I'm Matthew Durham. I'm here with my colleague, Mr. Don Miles. And more of us would have come, but with our 5-member council, we're here more down to this quorum. So you left with Mr. Miles and myself. But we came to encourage you as y'all go into deliberation on the old Seneca Middle School to consider that no matter whose name's on the side of the building's the taxpayers of Oconee County. And I'd like to encourage you to as you deliver it and sign on, to transfer that facility to the city of Seneca so that the children in that community can continue to utilize the facility and gain great value from it. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And that's the only thing that's going on. All right, at this time, we will look at the approval of minutes. These are the minutes from July 15th, 2024 work session and regular board meeting. And then also July 25th, the special call board meeting minutes. Did anyone see anything that needs to be changed? All right, then the minutes from July 15th and the minutes from July 25th will be approved with no objection. Now, at this time, it's time for Dr. Thornton to give us his report.
Sure, thank you, and I'll try to be quick. We have a full agenda. But I've emailed you a couple of times in the last several days, just that we had a great opening of school. We had our normal, snafus with traffic and a couple of things that we wish would have gone smoother, but overall, principals have reported that it was a very smooth opening, and it was amazing. Day one, we had students in classrooms learning. Our teachers worked extremely hard, and just been a good opening to the school year. After several days of teacher in-service, and that was another thing to celebrate. We had teachers for 6 days working hard, learning themselves so that they can improve classroom instruction, which of course is our goal across the district. I did want to share numbers, so you have in your packet just an update on our school district enrollment for this school year, and this was taken on day 6, so it's largely accurate. It could have changed in a couple of days, but just for those of you out in the audience, we have on day 6 we had 10,100 students in 4K through 12, and 3,614 in the Seneca area, 3,717 in the Walhalla area, 2,769 in the West Oak area. And you can see that broken down on the bar graph by school enrollment. But that number is largely unchanged from the last many years, decades, actually. Anything else on missing staff? We're good? Sure. Pretty good start, and happy to answer any questions if you have any about the opening of school. And I think I have the legislative updates. So I'm going to share that with you tonight, and want to make sure that you're aware of some legislation that has happened in the last several months in South Carolina, but also nationally, that I labeled as gender issues, but some things that have come up in schools that do deal with that. The first is House Bill 4624. It was legislation that did come through our state legislature, signed by Governor McMaster on May 21st. This law defines sex and gender. It makes sex binary, male or female, defined by the characteristics at birth. It requires that a school administrator or counselor immediately notify a student's parents if the student says one of 2 things. If the minor students assert to any school employee that their gender is inconsistent with his or her sex, or if the minor student requests a school employee to address the student using a pronoun or title that does not align to the minor's sex. So this is simply a notification issue. There are states in our country that have taken the opposite approach, that if a student shares something with school officials, that school officials are not supposed to talk to parents. South Carolina has come out firmly in the opposite camp. I would say this matches our mission statement, that we are to partner with families in educating students and adolescents can be a confusing time, but it's something that we should work with parents on. And in South Carolina now, it is a law that if a student expresses either of these two things to school officials, that the school officials contact parents. Another change that was to be put in place across our country, this is national, I guess it's not legislation so much as administrative policies from the Biden administration, but Title IX was a law passed in 1972. Purpose of it was to end sex-based discrimination in any organization that received federal funding. Title IX is perhaps most famous for its impact on women's sports. Since it was passed, women's sports have been elevated tremendously from where they were. But in April of this year, the Biden administration released new Title IX regulations. These regulations would have allowed any LGBTQ or transgender student to have the same protections given to women in the original law. So the effect of these changes the Biden administration proposed, and in fact having it enacted in some parts of our country, would have ended up where biologically male or female students could have used restrooms or changing facilities that did not correspond with their biological sex. It could have also opened the door for students to play sports on a team that was designed for students of the opposite sex. On July 31st, so just a couple weeks ago, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals issued an order prohibiting the United States Department of Education from enforcing the Biden administration's changes in South Carolina. There is litigation all across the country that, lawsuits that have been filed to halt this. And last I heard, it was about half the states where these changes have been put on hold. But my understanding is that the new laws or the new regulations are in effect in about half the states as well. But it is not being allowed to be enforced in South Carolina. At the same time, we have a proviso in South Carolina that was passed through the budget process. A proviso is a temporary law that is generally a one-year law unless it's renewed, because it's a law that comes through the budget process. And in the 24-25 budget, there's proviso 1.120. And like the House Bill 4624, it defines a student's or a person's sex, and I wrote it down here, a person's biological sex, either male or female, as objectively determined by anatomy and genetics existing at the time of birth. So it does define, in this case, a student's sex. It requires that South Carolina schools designate multi-occupancy restrooms. So we would call that sometimes gang restrooms. When you walk out here in the hall, you'll see restrooms that say boys or girls, men's or women's. But it requires that schools designate those to be only used by members of one sex and prohibits students of the opposite sex from using them. This would not only be restrooms, but changing facilities. Anytime there's a field trip where it's overnight and students are spending the night, it would mean that students of one sex have to stay in the same hotel room. And it would also not allow students, I'm not sure about that. I don't think that's in the proviso, but that's actually a different piece of legislation, so that's not allowed in South Carolina either. However, because this is a budget law, any school district who doesn't enforce this can lose 25% of state funding for not enforcing it. So it's not something that's optional. Anyway, just wanted to update you on kind of where we were with a few policies that are certainly contentious across our country. We will be talking with principals about this. They're aware of the laws, but we'll be being a little more specific with them on Wednesday at our first principals meeting. Any questions about those three pieces of legislation?
Just one comment. I'm pleased that the state of South Carolina has the common sense to deal with it in the way that they have.
All right, now we have another,
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just on
another
tap for
policy to discuss.
a lot of things to begin. So these policies that you'll see listed here, the 6 policies we've got here just to discuss tonight, all deal with the parental notification and parental rights to preview instructional materials. So these 6 policies deal with a parent's right to see all of the instructional materials that our students are exposed to in schools. The legislature also directed the State Board of Education to pass a policy that would allow parents to see any kind of instructional material that we have in our schools. And these 6 updates are from the South Carolina School Boards Association, and they get our 6 policies in line with state law. So they changed them a little bit. It's the same spirit of the law, that we want to be open. When we say we partner with families, we want, if a family comes in and says, mom or dad says, I want to see what books are available in his or her library, or what materials the teacher's using to instruct them. If we're going to partner with families, we're going to be open and let them see. Now, could there be disagreement on the appropriateness of certain materials? For sure. These policies, matter of fact, the 6th one there, KEC-E, is a new complaint form that a family can fill out. It's the same complaint form here as it would be in Horry County or Newberry County or anywhere else in our state. So it's a uniform parent complaint form based on the new State Department regulations. And, certainly anybody who's interested in this, you can click on these new policies if you go to our website and read them. But this is, again, statewide, and we are adopting the policies. We would finish in October if we go according to our proposed schedule right now. But the policy actually went into place August 1st. It's just that we got the updates from the School Boards Association just last week, and that's why you're getting those today. So I'm happy to answer any questions about any of those policies, but that's kind of a summation of all 6 of them together. And we'll, of course, take them on first reading and second reading one by one, but comes from the School Boards Association, makes our policies consistent with the state law, and gives parents the right to view. Part of the requirement is that our library books are searchable on our website, and we've met that requirement now. You can go on our website and click on the Destiny app. Destiny is the software we use in our libraries, and anyone could look at the books that we have available in our school libraries, so that it is a searchable database at this point. Some of these others deal with instructional materials that would be in classrooms. We sent out, Ms. Dodd and Mr. Smith, Dr. McDonald and I did a video just about a week ago, a little longer than that, but just to tell our teachers that, if you do have parents asking for a list of instructional materials, we have a process in place where we're going to help you compile that list. We didn't want to tell teachers to create that list on their own, because number one, it's possible nobody ever asked for it, and they'd be doing a lot of work for nothing. And if the beginning of the school year is not a time to give teachers more tasks to do, in some cases could be overwhelming tasks. So we will help students. We're going to comply with the law for sure, but we would send resources to that teacher to assist them in creating those lists, should that come up.
when you search for books for the library, does it tell you what school they're in?
It does.
Okay.
You can,
That's
through our
great.
Destiny system, you can look at individual schools. And you can search, I've done searches through our library system, through the Destiny system, and you can search keywords, author's name, titles.
I did have another question as well, and I had it on my computer, but with all these papers, I don't know
I'm sorry.
which, it's policy KEC Exhibit 5, and somewhere in there I read that if a parent were to make a complaint and the book were to go under a review process, that book stays on the shelf of the classroom or the library until that review process is done, either by a committee or by us. And I know this is coming down from the state board association, but is there any reason specifically why that book wouldn't automatically be pulled? I mean, I don't think a book should be innocent until proven guilty.
Sure.
But we need to take that out from any child's access if it's in question.
Yeah, and I guess one thing I'd want to point out is this policy directs parents to first talk to the teacher and principal and see if you can remedy the situation at the local level before we even get to the complaint and committees and going to the State Board of Education. And what I'll tell you is that if we have materials that would be objectionable, I think 99% of issues raised would be handled before it would ever get to this point. I think we would handle it
Absolutely.
at the local level. And, yeah, so I don't anticipate that being a problem. I would tend to want to err on the side of caution with that as well. But there are stipulations that are very specific, and it deals with sexualized content. I've had conversations with Ms. Moore, who's here tonight, one of our media specialists, and she's very careful. She reads the books before they come into her library to make sure they don't have sexualized content. So is it possible in today's world that something would slip by and get into schools? I'm not going to pretend that that couldn't happen. But if it did, I think that our media specialists, our teachers, our principals would probably agree with parents in most cases and say, you're right, this shouldn't be, or maybe shouldn't be at this age group of students.
Anyone else have any comments? Just encourage you to be sure and look at these closely. We'll pass on first reading or do whatever with it next month. All right, Mr. Schickling, the July financial report, please.
Okay, not a lot of activity on the report. You know, at the beginning of the school year, we only have 12-month employees running through payroll right now. So our 10-month of school year employees have not started yet, as well as at the time of the report. Again, you know, in the revenue side, the local revenues are going to be generated in arrears. We get a report from the county finance office about prior month's collections. So that's why you're not seeing any information there for July, because we'll get that probably at the end of this week. You do see some local revenues for tuition, some local refunds, rental fees, and then our state aid payments beginning for the school year. So modest on the revenue side. On the expenditures, again, you're not going to see the bulk payroll for the majority of the staff there. You will see those that are year-round employees. You're also going to see expenditures on some of those purchase services and supplies for gearing up for the year and or software subscriptions that are used in the schools or administrative offices. So looking at the check report, the disbursements as well, highly concentrated on those annual software renewals. Want to thank Philip Price, our CTO, and his office, in conjunction with our instructional leaders here. We've had a concerted effort to try to centralize all of those subscriptions, make sure that we're tracking them and trying to align them to start. Sometimes we're prorating them or asking for credits, but trying to get them to start on a 7/1 date so that we're not crossing fiscal years and possibly losing track of what renews when. So you see a lot of the software programs renew in July, so you see payments there. Some of our seed money to pupil activities in the high schools and middle schools utilities, and then some construction work, some capital work going on as well. Any questions that I can answer for anybody?
I did have one, I did notice all the software, amounts that were in here, and so obviously it being the beginning of the school year, some of these, I just wondered how often, or have we vetted them for their specific instructional content, closely, and the one I was just, kind of red flagged to me was that Newsella at the bottom, knowing what kind of media, what kind of, newspaper clippings that was going to be shown to, say, a social studies class. Are we vetting that?
Well, Newsella is a platform, it's not really focused on news media, it's a lot of different types of text, so fictional text, non-fictional text. And so teachers can pull in different articles for students to read, but not necessarily linked to what's going on today. Like, you can find articles to assign to kids that are about, things that are happening right now, but it's not like a random, you're just.
Pulling world news from.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And we do have a formal system that we do, go through with instruction and technology, making sure that everything works within what we're capable of doing with our network, and it's not putting student data at risk and those kind of things. So we do have a process where we vet the companies to make sure that, it's gonna work with what we are already doing.
Great.
Anyone else have questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And now, Mr. Handy, 2025-2026 school calendar.
Yes, so we talked about this in the spring, actually, and we looked at, a calendar, and we have tweaked it just a little bit from that, so we wanted to go ahead and see if we can get, approval pretty soon, so that our families would know, and be able to make their summer arrangements and that, because we have kind of started getting back toward where we're closer to the beginning of August versus the third Monday of the month of August, which is what state law requires unless you run a modified calendar. So the biggest change for us, you look at it, we would be starting school with the kids on the 5th of August. And the biggest change from the last one is in March with spring break. We had spring break the week before, a little earlier. So what you'll notice in March is the 9th and 10th are the last 2 days of the third 9 weeks, and then you start the 11th, 12th, and 13th, would start the fourth quarter. So we have high school classes where government, econ, where they would be taking an exam at the end, and our prior version had spring break, and then the last 2 days of the third 9 weeks. So they'd be taking an exam after spring break vacation. We don't really think that's in the students' best interest. Plus, when we look at the rest of the calendar, we had to tweak a few of the in-service days, because as our elementary teachers are going through letters training, they can't have an in-service on a Friday and then return right away on Monday to be able to do the modules that they're required to do. There's just no way we would ask anybody to do that. So we took a day that was the 6th of April, and we actually moved it to February 16th, so that we have a little gap in there. Now what that does is it does, from spring break to the end of the school year, there's not a lot of breaks for our staff, but there are more than normal throughout the year. So we would still end before Memorial Day, have graduation on Saturday the 23rd of May, and still have 6 in-service days for our teachers before students came in on a Tuesday. So, any questions about the calendar? Again, for people who don't know, the goal with moving to this calendar is to finish first semester by Christmas, so that kids don't have to come back and have 4 or 5 days and then an exam after they've been off for 2 weeks. So we push it back enough to get close to 90 days in there. We may go 88, 89, because in the spring you lose some days for field day and awards day and that kind of thing, so it kind of instructionally balances out. But this allows our kids to finish up their semester classes before Christmas, including exams, and get a fresh start with a whole new schedule when they come back after break.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say that February of 2026 on the 16th is an in-service day?
Yes.
And then down at the bottom, it says Martin Luther King Day is on the 19th.
Of January.
Oh, okay.
It's listed in the,
Yeah, I
like the
see it now. All right.
brickish color.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to
Now,
make sure.
President's Day is the 16th, so, and some schools close on President's Day.
Right.
We have at times,
Yeah.
but in
Okay,
order
I
to
got
get
it.
the calendar done and to get that, get finished so that we don't have to come back for a day or two after Memorial Day, which is a waste, quite honestly.
Right.
We
I
have to do
agree.
that.
This calendar was a challenge because of when Memorial Day fell. It's
Right.
early, and it made it hard to get the second semester completed by Memorial Day. But this is our honest effort to do that. I do want to be open that maybe since I've been working with calendars in Oconee County, we have always had the Friday, Monday. Students have always had the Friday, Monday around Easter off, and we did have to change that to get that day for letters training in February. But, again, those are the challenges we had, but we feel like between Mr. Hamby and me trying to get it down on paper, and then Dr. McDonald, Mr. Smith looking at it from an instructional lens and the testing and that kind of things, we feel like this is our best effort.
Have you heard any feedback on the professional development days at the beginning of the year?
From the elementary perspective, a lot of folks were really excited. They felt as though they had enough time to get set up. So we had some professional learning days where they were engaged in PD. We had a full day of letters. Then we had another half day where they were with us at the district level. But then the rest of the time was for their school-based principal to lead them and work time in their classrooms. And a lot of teachers have given feedback that they just felt ready for the start of the school year. So having those days at the front end really just seems to support easing back into the year and having time in the classroom prepared.
Similar feedback from secondary.
And we've heard loud and clear that that day coming off of Christmas break is important as well to the teachers to get that and get ready for second semester. So we've tried to honor that. So this is, we would probably ask that you would look at this maybe for action in September.
All right, so everybody look at it closely, we'll vote on it next month. All right, next, and this is discussion with possible action, the 2024 board meeting calendar update. Mr. Hamby, again.
Yes, and after we talked last meeting about looking at our neighbor district, how some of the meetings were set up and that, looking at going to the one per month, we had some individual conversations with you guys, and we talked about going ahead and making that change now, where we basically just have instead of calling it a combined board meeting or a work session, we just have a board meeting, and we do whatever business we need to do. Whether that means have, first reading and that, and then coming back the next month and so on. So, if we make that adjustment on the current calendar, that would change the Monday, September 9th meeting to just what we would call the board meeting, and do away with the September 16th meeting. And the same thing in October. October 14th would be our board meeting, and the 21st would no longer be on there.
All right, let's go ahead and look at that, now. Does anybody have any objections to changing that?
The dates themselves did not change.
No.
No, September 9th will be our board.
And it's
meeting.
gonna give us basically the
October 14th.
second Tuesday of every month is gonna be the standard now. It's not gonna be people having to guess and figure out if we got it on the second and third, whether it's even for next year's, that you'll approve it as second Tuesday. Second Monday, sorry.
If we have a conflict.
There's conflicts. You can, as long as three of you vote for it, you can do anything you want.
Well, I'm just double checking. I think I am out of town on the 14th. And I know that was one, but if that's gonna be our board meeting for October, I don't wanna miss the one, since we had two, but I will be out of town on the 14th.
So, am I hearing that you would want to propose that we keep the 21st?
Is that okay with everybody?
objections to that. No meeting on the 14th, but our board meeting that month will be the 21st.
We get Ms. Bay to make the changes on the paper.
I'm good. Okay. All right. All right, then I would ask for a motion to approve the 2024 board meeting calendar update. That changes Monday, September 9th to our board meeting, and then Monday, October 21st to our board meeting. And then the rest of the dates are correct. Okay?
Second.
Sandra and Megan. Any more discussion? All right, if not, all in favor? All right, if you'll just get that changed for us, Mr. Hindy, and,
Okay, we will.
okay?
Thank y'all, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
No problem.
That's fine.
We'll get it worked out and publicized.
All right, and for still yours, and donation of items.
Yes, so, when we were getting closer to, finishing our time at the old middle school, I had the folks from the Blue Ridge Community Center, reach out, and, there were things that they could use that we may not need anymore, like we've been over there and said, I got 390 desks, and other places got them, but there are still some decent desks. We have gotten our extra and put it in storage, what we need, but they asked for some things like some desks, some tables, some things that we're not going to need. Now, the technology and stuff, we are reusing, so we can't get that. But I would just like, for you all to, allow me to let them walk through, mark some things that they want to get that will help them when they're tutoring kids in the afternoon. They'll have regular desks and that kind of thing, or tables. They ask about stuff, in the gym, which, most of that's gonna be taken to the, new school, so there won't be a whole lot. But I would just like the opportunity to work with them to donate items that we are not gonna have a need for, to help them out, as they, continue to serve the community the way they do with our students and families.
All right, would someone like to make a motion that we donate those items?
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a second, a motion and a second. Any more discussion on any of those? All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. And then Mr. Schickling, our bond resolution for this year.
Yeah, so traditionally, this has been something that we do in March, April timeframe, on the recommendation of our Compass advisors, our municipal financial advisor. They recommended delaying it a little bit, and it's common for many of their clients to do an issuance late summer, early fall. The reason for that is because at that time, the full collections from the prior year are known, and the assessment rates are known, which allows them to do a more accurate projection of the impact of whatever value they may propose. So, with our goal of trying to maintain some neutrality on the capital millage rate, they said that we can do a better job of that if we delay that a little bit and get some fixed numbers rather than some estimates. So what you've got in front of you is the authorization. Now, they haven't done that analysis yet, so it's a not to exceed number. It will fall in somewhere below that. We just don't know how far below that. For our general obligation bonds, or GO bonds as we call them, there's also language in there because of our long-term building plan, where we have, because we traditionally do this in the spring and we've delayed it a little bit, we have given ourselves an IOU from our general fund. So anything that is capital work that falls under our plan can be reimbursed by this issuance, since that's money that we would have spent to get our work done over the summer. So if there's any questions about that process, I'm happy to answer them. But it would be just an up and down vote, which would be a continuance of our annual practice.
Not to exceed 25.
All right, so you see, we have a resolution authorizing the issuance of sale of not to exceed $25 million in general obligation bonds, series 2024. I I'd like to have a motion that we accept this resolution.
Will we accept the resolution?
Second.
All right, does anybody have any questions or anything else they'd like to ask Mr. Chickley before we vote? And as he said, this is something we do annually, but if there are any, I'm sure we'll entertain them. All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? All right. And now, we went over these, we have been over these, just for those who may not have been, we are updating our policy manual through the South Carolina School Board Association, and we're starting with the A policies and going all the way through. And last week, we had, or last month, we had them, and we had discussions, and we had some changes and some questions, and some we wanted to rescind. So we wanted to look at those as policies A, which are the administrative policies, and policy B, which pertain to the board itself. So we would like to read these for second reading.
You guys chime in if I miss anything. I think in general, we felt pretty positive about the A policies. There were some minor updates, some citations that were updated here and there. But I believe that approving those as presented, I don't have any major concerns with those policies.
All right, let's go ahead and get a motion for a second reading final approval on the floor for approving administrative policy manual section A. And that includes AA, the school district legal status, AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, ADA-R, school district goals and objectives, ADB, drug and alcohol-free workplace and schools, ADC, tobacco-free school district, and ADF, district wellness. So do I have a motion that we approve in second reading, final approval, the administrative policy manual section A?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on any of those? As Dr. Thorson said, those are kind of just straightforward, pretty things we have to have. All right, if there's no more discussion, all in favor? All right. So we have approved section A, and now on to section B.
All right, section B, I did have a couple of things that I wanted to point out that I can guide you, but, or give you an opinion, but it would have to be a decision. And a couple of these we probably should have cleaned up ahead of time, but we missed a couple of things. So if you'll look at BBAA-R, and this is board member authority and responsibilities. At the bottom of the first page, it talks about requesting the addition of items to board meeting agendas. And it says option there, in parentheses, the third line, the second line, third line of that paragraph. And it basically says, the choices are, any board member who asks for an item to be put on the agenda, that it just get put on the agenda. That's option one. And the other would be a majority of 3 or more voting to put it on the agenda. Typically in South Carolina, the way school board meeting agendas, it's the board chair and the superintendent working collaboratively on that. I think our practice has probably been, if a board member asks for something to be presented, that we put it on the board agenda. So I would probably lean that way, and that would also bring consistency with a different policy that's later that would be in agreement with that. More or less, if a board member asks for something to be placed on the agenda, that it's done.
anybody have any problem with that?
Okay.
So,
We'll go that way.
yeah, so we'll just strike option 3 or more.
Yes, we would take that out and just say, if a board member requests the addition of an item, that it would be added to the agenda.
Okay.
That was one thing. And then if you'll look at policy BBB, we discussed this last time, and this was a question of whether or not newly elected board members would take their seat in November or December. And at the time, I thought that the proposed changes would mean that that transition would take place at the December meeting. So, the election is always the first Tuesday following the second Tuesday? Maybe that could be history, folks. First Tuesday following the second, or the
First Tuesday.
first Monday.
First Tuesday.
First day
following
after
the
first
first.
month.
First,
So it can't be
okay.
on
Okay, it
the
can't be
first.
the first, but it has to be the second through the 8th, then, okay. So, if we meet the second Monday, that would be within 7 days of an election. And the recommended policy based on state law says that new board members would be seated essentially a week after the election results were certified, which would push it to the December meeting. But actually, Ms. Holder had emailed me today, the law that supported that recommendation from the School Boards Association. So I just said, you know what, I need to check with our lawyers. I did, and there's actually local legislation that I learned a lesson in South Carolina policy today, but local legislation actually supersedes this. So we have a piece of local legislation that was passed in 1998, and it was when our district was in the process of getting an appointed superintendent and going from 7 trustees to 5, and there was very specific language about the new school board members immediately taking office upon certification of the election, and they have to be sworn in within 15 days. So that's why the policy that we have is like it is. So I'm gonna ask, we could change it. We could ask that it be changed, but it would take legislative action, so we would have to talk to our legislative delegation about doing that. But currently, it looks like November it is, so I'm gonna ask that you just table these changes and we keep the policy as is right now for BBB. Again, it could be changed later, but before we could change that and make December the first meeting for a newly elected board member, it would take legislative action. And then I had a note on BE. We just let something slip there. Excuse me. But, so that's getting on towards the end. It says the annual meeting, and it just says first Monday, and we need to change that to second Monday. So it's just a minor oversight, but we need those 2 paragraphs to be consistent, so it needs to be the second Monday of each month. And that's a change that Ms. Bay will make. And then I don't think I need to change that. And then the last one that I want to make a recommendation on, and I think Ms. Bay put both of these in your notebook for tonight, but BEDH. Policy BEDH. We had talked about changes, and we actually discussed this one, I think, at the last meeting too, as far as citizens wanting to place items on the agenda. and open forum, and the more I read that, the more I got confused about what the open forum was and what the, so I talked to our leadership team this morning, and I would like to just propose that we keep our policy as is. I don't think this new policy adds any meat as far as allowing people more input or less input. And I just think the language that we have in our current BEDH is clear. It does give citizens the right to petition to have something placed on the agenda. And it to me, more clearly specifies what our public comment period is at the beginning of our meetings for the 30 minutes, limited to 5 minutes for an individual, 10 minutes for a group. When it starts talking open forum and all that, I got confused as to what the policy updates were really meaning. And I think the policy that we have right now, BPDH, is fairly clear and still allows people, again, the same privileges. I had to struggle to even find I was trying to find an example of when we did let a citizen come in and present to the board, because normally it's presentations from, staff, employees. But I did think of a couple when we were first discussing how to dispose of the old Seneca Middle School property. We had the city of Seneca as well as the Dream Center come in and present to you. So that's an example of when a community did come in and present. So that does happen from time to time, but our current policy allows for that. So I think I would recommend we just keep that policy as is. But I think the rest of it, I would say, is as is from our discussion at the last meeting. We would essentially tabling BEDH and keeping the existing policy. Tabling the changes, or tabling the policy change. There is, I guess, one last thing I'll just point out. In the board offices, we did strike that legislative contact. But there is a policy that talks about the legislative contact, so that could be maybe a little bit of an inconsistency. I don't know if there would be an interest in allowing the chair, vice chair, or board secretary to serve in that role, or you could, all 5 members take that role. Again, with us having the smallest school board in number of any school district in South Carolina, it's, at some point, everybody would be an officer if you, so I think it's okay to have just the 3 offices of chair, vice chair, and secretary, but that might be something that, again, that could be seen as a inconsistency if we approve the policy for, that, I guess, essentially the political action of the board, because it does call out the board legislative contact. BLC is what they call that. We could designate the vice chair as the BLC. I mean, in the future, that could be, I'm not trying to bestow a title on Dr. Ketterman necessarily. That could be something that would allow us to then still function under policy BJ-R without necessarily, in practice, I've been here almost 20 years now, and we've never identified the board legislative contact that I'm aware of in that time period. So.
rescind B, D, B, and B, E, E?
I think since it's listed on here as rescinding, I think it could go either way, but it's listed as rescinding, so, I think if you, it might be cleanest to do that since that's a separate action instead of just amending what it said.
So what we're doing then is rescinding BDB and BEE and keeping what we already have in place, is that correct?
That's correct. The rescinding those policies, we're taking those out of the policy manual altogether
Altogether,
because the contents of those policies are now covered in different policies
Okay,
that they
all right.
recommended. So those two policies would come out of those. And the one, BE,
BEE is about public hearing, is what you
Yes.
were talking about including.
but it's covered in another
Right,
policy now.
Right,
Then it was, let's see here, it was, BEDH is the one that I'm now recommending that we not approve the changes, that we just keep the policy that we have, because I felt like it was easier to understand and still afforded the same rights, just a little more clarity
right,
to
and I
me.
agree.
All right, so let's just start by having a motion to rescind policies BDB and BEDA. No, I'm sorry, BEE.
So moved.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to rescind policies BDB, which is board officer, and BEE, which is public hearing. Any more discussion on that? All in favor? All right. And we're gonna table BDB, is that right?
Yes, BEDH.
And B, yeah, and BBB. I don't know, table, are we just gonna?
Oh, just approve that one.
Approve without changes.
Oh,
But the board membership.
no, that's actually, I think, as same action, I think we're gonna need to keep what we had for right now. We may come back to you after we, I did talk to Mr. Barlow, and he's willing, because we have local legislation and our policy will be different from what the School Boards Association recommends for everybody else, he's willing to look at that policy. So we may come back to you with BBB, with a different policy, but for right now, yes, table BBB and BEDH without changing them.
Let's do that in a separate motion.
All right, Madam Chair, I would like to move that we table section BBB, board membership / elections, and BEDH, public participation at meetings until further notice.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion on that? All in favor? All right. I'm not gonna read these policies. But can I have a motion for the balance of the policies, and that's other than the ones that we have tabled or rescinded in Administrative Policy Manual, Section D, be approved on second reading, final approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Anybody have anything else they wanna look at? All right, all in favor? Great. All right, thank y'all so much. And at this time, we set aside a time for board member comment. Anyone that has anything they would like to address, so, anybody?
I actually do have a question.
Okay.
So, when we were first, introduced and talking about Parent Square, I didn't realize that student participation in that was a separate, unit, so to speak. So where we did a lot of conversation about that would allow, say, band directors and coaches and so forth to utilize that, for the way they handle that on the secondary level. Because I think that most coaches and the people in charge of that, and Beta Club and National Honor Society and all the things, chorus, everything, in an attempt to teach those young people how to manage their lives, and they are more directly in contact with their athletes or their students that are participating rather than parents. So I think in our efforts maybe to cut down on some of the texting and so forth, that's really not gonna happen because students don't have access to that platform, so.
Yet, they will.
Okay. So
It's,
we're gonna add that?
it was a conscious decision to just try to get our staff on board first
Right.
and work with parents. Ms. Dowdy can maybe give you a more complete timeline, but we do anticipate rolling that out soon.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, and we really became aware of that kind of after the start. So we have allowed our fall activities, mainly our sports teams, some flexibility in how they communicate for the fall. But we have worked out those hiccups, and we've put a cheat sheet together, you might say, for our coaches. Students actually can participate a little bit if the coaches will add the students through the app or through a group. When they create the group, students will actually get emails anytime a coach sends out, and that goes to their school district email. It won't go to their cell phone number, because we don't store those things. So they are able, and that works in classrooms as well, so they are able to get some of that through their school district email right now. But we will launch Student Square, which is the companion piece for students later in the fall. We felt like it was really important to spend our time making sure our parents got connected and that our teachers were on board before we asked them to also do that kind of communication with students as well.
Okay.
So the plan would be for later in the fall. I don't have a date yet
Right.
because I feel like I need a little more time with our principals and our teachers to understand where they are.
Right.
But we have allowed flexibility for the fall while we figure that part of it out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, then, that is the end of our regularly scheduled meeting, and I will ask for a motion and go into executive session to discuss personnel items, employment recommendations, and changes, and also the Seneca Municipal Property matter.
So moved.
All right? All in favor? All right. We appreciate y'all being here tonight.
Because we're at a different location, we are actually gonna do executive session in here. So if anybody wants to see the action that's taken after executive session, we're just gonna ask that you would leave and sit in the front lobby, and then we'll come get anybody who